Thanks for joining us. I'm Mindy Mizell with Today's Retirement, and joining us is Sherman Huff with the Spanish Cove Retirement Village. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Always a pleasure to be with you, Mindy.
It's always good to see you. Well, we've been talking for the last several weeks
Right.
now about whether you should help out adult children in your retirement years, because it can affect your retirement.
That's right.
So what are some of the things that you would recommend people consider before they ever give any money?
Well, you've got to get real about why you're doing it. I mean, first you got to sit down and look at emotionally why do you keep doing this, and is it really needed, or is it just are you just having something go on that's you're going to continue to bail the children out? And you have to look at your finances and say, can I really afford to do this or not? And then I think you need to say, take some time. It is so hard when someone comes to you and says, Mom, Dad, I need this. Can you help me out? Blah blah blah. And your heart, you just immediately want to say, well, sure, I'll take care of that. But you need to say, most of the time, it's not an emergency. It has to be done right then. And you really need to say, I need to take some time to think about this, and then sit down and really look at your finances, look at your children's past history of how they've handled finances. Is this going to help them, or is this not going to help them? And just really think through why you're doing that.
And last week we touched on the fact that we don't want to hurt other people.
Right.
We don't want to hurt young people as they're trying to get their footing, but at the same time you want to teach them responsibility. Right. Now, one of the things I'm questioning is, do you ever want to have a signed agreement?
Personally, I think that's very important, Mindy, because otherwise you give it to them and they may have the best intentions, say, oh, I'll pay you back, Mom and Dad, but other bills keep coming up, they keep spending, things keep happening, and that just never happens. I think it needs to be laid out in writing as to how much you're loaning them. Are you going to charge them an interest rate? What the payment's going to be each month? And how long they have to pay that back. And you also have got to set a realistic payment plan and then make sure that they stick with that. Yeah,
but I can't imagine turning around and asking your kids years later for that money. So how do you make a plan and then stick to that decision?
Well, it's tough. I mean, you lay it out there on the plan and you do that, and sometimes you just have to step up like you do with young children. You explain things to them and say to them, I'm willing to bail you out this one time and I will help you, but this is it. And that's how you teach them to be financially responsible. And that's important that all of us learn to be financially responsible.
Good advice. Tough advice, but it's good advice. Thanks so much, Sherman. And if you have a question, just email him at sherman@news9.net.